My name is Joost Wagner, and I'm your conference facilitator today. So thank you for joining us for the opening session for the Asia Pacific region for our conference, Turning the COVID-19 Crisis into an Opportunity. What's next for social protection? Before we start, I just wanted to highlight the fact that we are using the Zoom meeting software. So please keep your mics muted and your video off if you are not speaking. And you might also want to change your first name and surname, or you want to show your first name and your surname if you haven't done so. I'm sure you're all aware how to do that. And so, because you can actually chat with each other in the chat box. So I think we should start. And I now have the pleasure to introduce you to Mariana Balboni. She is a senior project officer at International Policy Center for Inclusive Growth, a partnership between UNDP and the Brazilian government. But most of us know her actually as a coordinator of socialprotection.org. And she and her team worked for many months to make this truly global conference on social protection happen. So Mariana, over to you. And I understand it's in the middle of the night in Brazil. So thank you for addressing us in person. Over to you, Mariana.
Thank you, Joost. Thank you a lot. Dear colleagues, it's really a pleasure to welcome you to our Global e-conference, Turning the COVID-19 Crisis into an Opportunity, What's Next for Social Protection. As you all know, we are going through an unprecedented and delicate time, struggling with a global pandemic caused by a new, largely unknown virus and a dire economic crisis resulting from containment measures in response to the health emergency. Social protection has never been more important. Governments and the global community are more open than ever to discuss and implement broader social protection policies and universal measures. This crisis could have a silver lining, representing a real opportunity to expand existing systems and extend social protection for all. Yet, unfortunately, we are seeing millions falling back into poverty and hunger. The past months have been completely overwhelming for every organization involved in social protection, as we worked around the clock to support countries and governments all over the world with their responses to COVID-19. We are happy to be able to provide a virtual space for the community to reflect, share experiences, take stock of what has been accomplished, and plan coming actions. So we have designed this conference with your collaboration to meet the following objectives. Provide this global forum to assess, exchange knowledge about, and facilitate learning on social protection responses to COVID-19. To discuss the future of social protection in the context of the pandemic, and also to celebrate the achievements of the socialprotection.org platform over its 5 years of existence. Many of the activities of this event were elaborated considering a framework that encompasses 8 main dimensions for improving, expanding, or building systems to better meet people's needs. These dimensions are coverage, comprehensiveness, adequacy, timeliness, cost-effectiveness, accountability to affected populations, sustainability, and delivery chain. These dimensions are reflected in the guiding questions of the conference, which we hope to tackle with you this week. We have done our best to offer you a stimulating and motivational program with diverse session formats and many possibilities for interaction. We hope that you can find the time to fully engage in this learning journey with us. And now, I have the pleasure to hand back to you, our lead facilitator for the conference, Joost Wagner, who is based in Bangkok and who has facilitated quite a number of conferences on social protection, especially in Asia already. So the floor is yours, Joost. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mariana, for setting the scene and highlighting the objectives. So let's hear some welcoming words from the organization partners of this event and supporters of socialprotection.org. We will hear welcome messages from the IPC-IG director, who is at the same time the country rep of UNDP Brazil. We will hear from the representatives from the Department for Foreign Affairs and Trade in Australia and the German Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, our two main funders. And we also hear some words from the co-chairs of the Social Protection Interagency Cooperation Board Secretariat, our colleagues from the ILO and the World Bank. Given the time zone, and we have an opening 3 times in 3 different time zones, we have asked our speakers to record a short message of not more than 3 minutes. So let's hear it from them.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to this conference on behalf of the International Policy Center for Inclusive Growth, which is the result of a partnership agreement between the government of Brazil and the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. The IPC-IG aims at promoting the exchange of experience, knowledge, capacity for the design of policy that contribute to inclusive growth, poverty and inequality reduction, and human development. The socialprotection.org platform is a member-based platform hosted by the IPC-IG and supported by the German Development Agency and Australia's Departments of Foreign Affairs and Trade, with the objective to promote global knowledge sharing on social protection policy. Since its launching in 2015, the platform has made a significant contribution in facilitating the exchange of knowledge between policymakers, practitioners, research, and experts. This conference represents also the conclusion of the social protection response to COVID-19 task force. The task force was created in late March of this year in recognition of the crucial role of social protection policy on responding to the social economic consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. Finally, later today, the IPC-IG will present the first result of the mapping of social protection responses. The mapping provides an important starting point, not only to outline the responses taken across the world, but also to understand to what extent the measures taken may lead to more robust social protection system, making the right to social protection available for everyone. This conference is the prime example for how global learning and exchange can take place in times of global pandemic. I would like to congratulate all colleagues from the socialprotection.org platform and the IPC-IG for the making of this a worldwide collaborative learning platform. Without further ado, I would like to wish you all stimulating and productive discussion over the next 4 days. Thank you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I'm very excited to have the opportunity to open this very timely event today that brings together the diverse social protection community around the world. This is a most welcome opportunity to take stock of COVID-19 social protection responses and to brainstorm on the lessons from this global disaster to build better social protection for all. The current pandemic shows us in a catastrophic way that social protection programs are a very important, if not the most important, element to fighting the socio-economic consequences of this crisis. Early evidence suggests that countries with existing and adaptive social protection programs are better prepared to reduce the effects of crises such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Germany has a historically strong and well-advanced social protection system. With this in mind, the Federal German Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development has been particularly dedicated in supporting countries globally in developing and expanding their social protection systems. Social protection is a cornerstone of our COVID-19 response. We have substantially expanded our funding in this area in recent months. For example, for emergency social protection benefits and system strengthening in India, Brazil, and Tunisia. We are committed to new ways of working across the humanitarian and development nexus. Thus, we want to ensure that short-term crisis response contributes to long-term resilience and sustainable nationally owned systems. One example is our engagement in the Sahel, where we are funding major regional programs with several multilateral partners. This allows us to support the establishment of adaptive social protection systems, while linking resilience report and COVID-19 emergency cash transfers into those systems. We have commissioned the program Global Alliances for Social Protection in order to support global exchange and mutual learning on the various topics related to social protection. The International Policy Center for Inclusive Growth and the Social Protection Platform have been strong and important partners to making this exchange and learning a success. It is somewhat tragic that a pandemic that forces many into lockdown and virtual collaboration highlighted the platform's importance. Thanks to all of you, the platform became an even more important forum for exchange and learning in the field of social protection during the crisis. It is amazing to see that Social Protection Org has gathered this great community of social protection practitioners with your strong commitment and dedication towards achieving universal social protection in 2030. With this said, I wish Social Protection Org a happy 5th anniversary and all of you a great exchange and fruitful discussions today and tomorrow. Thank you very much.
More than 6 months into the COVID-19 pandemic, we're still in the middle of a socioeconomic crisis, the likes of which many of us had not seen in our lifetimes. Social protection, as we've seen, has been the first line of defense against the meltdown in jobs, incomes, and livelihoods. But despite the fury of activities that have happened in this area, and our various monitors have been capturing those, there have been huge inequalities in the size, scale, and efficacy of the measures that have been taken across countries. The effort to mobilize resources domestically and put in place social protection and health measures in low-income countries and developing countries more generally has been much weaker than what high-income countries have been able to do, especially since those countries have also thrown out the old rule books about how much fiscal resources can be spent. Indeed, we seem very likely to emerge from this crisis even more unequal than we entered it. Today, we are standing at a very critical crossroads. Can we turn the COVID-19 crisis into an opportunity, as the title of this e-conference by Social Protection Org asks, and really use it to build the kind of robust and universal social protection systems that we need to make the right to social security finally a reality for everyone? Or are we just going to stumble through this crisis again, as we did with previous ones, and leave ourselves exposed and unprepared for future shocks that are likely to come, whether it's from the climate crisis, from other health pandemics, or from economic and financial markets? Investing in universal and comprehensive social protection systems needs fiscal resources. And our research calculations at the ILO show that for low-income countries, domestic resource mobilization is just not going to be enough. And those efforts need to be complemented by international resources. But today, as in previous times, many options exist for mobilizing resources, whether it is by reducing the huge outflow of illicit financial flows that countries are losing every day, or by increasing wealth taxes, for example. Investing in universal and comprehensive social protection systems is affordable, and frankly, we cannot afford not to do so. Has anyone counted the cost of not having such a system in place? It's high time that we do that.
Hello, on behalf of the SPIAC-B, which I have an honor to co-chair with Shara Razavi from the ILO, I would like to very much welcome you to the global e-conference on turning the COVID-19 crisis into an opportunity and into very important and very timely discussions what's next for social protection. Let me share with you a few, not only intuitions, but a few thoughts that are backed by the research and activities we've done in the World Bank since March, since the COVID crisis started. First, let me start with something pre-COVID, which is that many of you would know that last year we published a so-called white paper, which I'm showing you the cover now, on protecting all and how to do risk sharing for a diverse and diversifying world of work. The main thought of the white paper is that social protection needs to be independent from the status of being in the labor market, because what's happening is that in developed countries labor markets become more and more fluid, and in developing countries there is no formalization proceeding on. India was 90% informal 50 years ago, is 90% informal now. The career paths in developed world often include being in full employment, being in partial employment, being in migration and working elsewhere, being contracted out, being self-employed. And we want social protection to support all those individuals in the informal sector as well as those who are in fluid situation in various forms of the formal sector. COVID crisis only emphasizes how important that is. What COVID crisis did is that in addition to emphasizing the importance of, I think, what I just said, it also exposed the missing middle as being the most vulnerable to pandemics. If you look at typical developing country, you would see that formal sector workers were covered by their schemes, including pension schemes, and the poorest of the poor in the rural areas were often covered by cash transfers, but urban informal workers were not. And this already was a problem before COVID, and they are the most affected in the COVID. So we need very quickly to expand, and this is what we are doing in the bank. We are expanding social safety nets. We are helping many countries to do that, to cover urban informal sector. When we are lucky, and the governments are lucky, there is a social registry, that we can account for everybody, it is all fine. But in many countries, it's not all fine because there is no social registry. And then we need to be extremely imaginative. Go out and use imaginative procedures to reach out to those who are affected. Mobile phone operators' data, tax records data, and others. And it's what we are doing left and right. We plan in this fiscal year of the World Bank to lend almost $8 billion for social protection in reaction to COVID. We already lent more than $1 billion in India, and we are coming to a new loan around $1 billion in Brazil. So we are very much present. At the end of the day, however, where the rubber hits the road will be whether the countries can create sustainable social protection programs in response to COVID, programs that cover those in the missing middle in addition to others, and those in a way that doesn't depend on the formal employment status people have. Thank you very much, and I wish you very, very good time, and I wish you that you enjoy your time and learn a lot during your sessions. Bye-bye.
Not least, we are very happy to have live with us Lisa Hennigan. She is a social protection specialist and a director at the Department for Foreign Affairs and Trade at the Government of Australia. And Lisa, over to you.
Great. Thanks, Jost. So it's an enormous pleasure for me to welcome you all to this event. I love the thought of us all being brought together to discuss social protection, which is so very important at the moment. So being brought together virtually is the only way we can do it this year. Yeah, it's brilliant that socialprotection.org has been able to make this happen for us. So as a government organisation that cares about social protection, we're extremely proud to be a long-term funding partner of socialprotection.org. I'm sure a number of you remember its humble beginnings. I think it was in 2012 we were in Hyderabad at a Social Protection Interagency Cooperation Board meeting where this shell of a system was an agenda item. And I think it's fair to say at that time that not everybody was overly impressed. It had automatic feeds of documents from other sites, but not much more. There was a vision, but it really needed some donor support to make it useful. And so I'm really pleased that we had the opportunity then and now to provide funding, and obviously also very pleased that GIZ has joined too. So of course, we weren't as visionary as our colleagues who run socialprotection.org. We thought it could be a worthwhile project, obviously, but I'll be the first to admit, I didn't think it would take off in the way that it has. I couldn't envisage it, for example, facilitating a gathering like this. But now we have knowledge products that we need at our fingertips, especially right now, and they're not sitting on a dusty shelf. We have easy access. We have webinars reaching people with essential, highly relevant and timely information at the moment. We've got 57 communities of practice linking people grappling with similar issues. So you've signed in today because social protection is so important. It's important that social protection systems exist. It's important that they cover those who need assistance when they need assistance and are built to be shock responsive and gender sensitive. And lives and livelihoods do depend on this at the moment. So us taking some time out for this sort of event to learn from each other, take this learning back to the front lines of the systems on which we're working, it's got that real potential to improve the lives of the people worst hit by this crisis. So I thank you so much, everyone, so much for being here today, for sharing your experiences, for helping to work through what the future might hold for social protection, taking the time to learn from each other, and for working to translate this learning into system improvements on the ground that affect those who most need assistance. And obviously I thank socialprotection.org for going that extra mile and pulling us all together for the next 3 days. This humble, non-branded 5-year-old platform is performing an essential service for all of us. So thank you very much. Thank you.
So thank you to all the speakers, and a special thanks to Lisa, because you really set the context for the next agenda item, because as you have realized, it's our 5th anniversary at socialprotection.org. And so we want to showcase some milestones, including some highlights of the webinar series, Social Protection Responses to COVID-19, followed by a selection of some of the incredible testimonials we have received from the social protection community. So the full video with all testimonials will be available on the conference website later, so we could choose only a few of them. So anyhow, please enjoy 5 years of social protection.
How did it all start? The socialprotection.org platform was created in response to a recommendation from the Development Working Group of the G20. They had requested a repository of learning resources on social protection with a focus on middle and low-income countries. In 2012, a prototype started to be developed by the International Policy Centre for Inclusive Growth with the support of the Australian government in consultation with the Secretariat of the SPIECB. So in September of 2015, the platform was officially launched as a space for knowledge sharing and capacity building on social protection. And you made it happen.
Socialprotection.org has succeeded in a very short time to become the most comprehensive and the only place to go for all you need on social protection, for exchanges of ideas, for resources, and gives really a sense of a global community on this topic.
Socialprotection.org is the first place to go if you're looking for social protection related information. It's the first place to go if you're looking for social protection practitioners and experts. But the biggest contribution for me is that it serves as a platform for exchange through webinars, communities, and other formats. And for that, quite frankly, I wouldn't want to miss it.
It's given us coherence, a common roof under which we can work together across regions, across countries, to be focusing on common objectives and driving those forward.
By bringing together all these amazing resources and communities in one place, I think they've created quite new opportunities for mutual learning, exchanging ideas. And in doing so, they've created quite a platform both for practice and for advocacy.
The platform is one of those things that in retrospect you think, how did we do without it? The platform meets the knowledge needs of diverse audiences, from the press to social protection specialists. It helped expand the knowledge frontier by sharing cutting-edge ideas, and the way in which the platform communicates and disseminates knowledge helped raise the profile of social protection globally.
Today, with the support of a community of over 6,500 practitioners, policymakers, and experts, we have become a global network.
My name is Ulrika Long. I'm Senior Policy Advisor for Social Protection at SIDA, the Swedish International Development Agency.
My name is Natalia Windarossi. I'm the Associate Director of Social Policy in UNICEF.
My name is Cecilia Mbaka from Kenya. I head the National Social Protection Secretariat.
My name is Maria Laura Ena, and I'm the Transform Coordinator.
My name is Juan Gonzalo Jaramillo Mejia, and I am a Social Protection Program Policy Officer at the United Nations World Food Program in Rome.
My name is February Amelia Curry. I'm an advisor for the Global Alliances for Social Protection Program of GIZ.
And what have we achieved so far? We provide free access to publications, news, events, webinars, and online communities. And the list of materials and services is constantly increasing in number, type, and quality. In December 2015, we began counting with the important support of the German Development Cooperation. The platform started to compile social protection program profiles in 2016 in collaboration with other agencies. The blog and the live stream features were launched in 2017, helping to promote information to a wider audience. And since 2018, our platform is also available in French and Spanish. In that same year, we launched our first online course developed in collaboration with partners. In 2019, we organized a broad webinar series focusing on universal social protection. And here we are in 2020, facing a global pandemic that has caused so many losses and negative impacts. Social protection became the focus of debates on responses to the crisis, and this is bringing new demands to the community. So together with the IPCIG, DFAT and GIZ, we have designed a collaborative initiative to share countries' responses to the pandemic through social protection measures. We have produced a weekly newsletter, a webinar series, and an online community to bring all of this information together. Our joint webinar series had 32 sessions attended by a wide audience of more than 6,000 people. Experts from across the globe were invited to explore and speak about practical solutions for how countries can react to the COVID-19 crisis.
Welcome everyone from across the globe to the second webinar in this Social Protection Responses to COVID-19 series.
They have discussed key issues and shared diverse and insightful country experiences with a focus on finding ways to protect the population at risk due to the pandemic. To close the webinar series and continue to encourage a debate, we have organized our first global e-conference, Turning the COVID-19 Crisis into an Opportunity, What's Next for Social Protection. We are also celebrating socialprotection.org's 5th anniversary, our history and achievements. Our team is constantly working to meet the needs of the community. Our annual satisfaction survey shows that 61% of our users are very satisfied with our services. 84% of the respondents say that the platform has helped expand their knowledge on social protection, and 67% affirm that the platform is their main source of information. We're going in the right direction, and our team has already planned its next technical development phase. Soon we'll be offering our audience a new country profiles section, a page with academic information, and a COVID-19 analytical matrix. We'll also make important improvements in our online communities to enhance its collaborative tools and design. So together we can provide services that are
essential, definitely essential,
motivating,
catalytic,
collaborative,
connecting,
outstanding,
efficient,
Inspiration.
Essential.
Outstanding.
Exchange.
A treasure trove.
Probably comprehensive.
A gold mine.
Excellent.
Connecting added value. Thank you very much and happy next 5 years.
Welcome to the Global e-Conference on What's Next for Social Protection.
Yeah, I think all of you agree with me. That's a fantastic video. So let me say 2 minutes something about this conference myself. So we have prepared a learning journey for you. The conference will make use of a wide range of methodologies and tools to give each of you the chance or the opportunity to make your own customized program, and you develop your own practical takeaways and action points from the conference and share results during the event. So tomorrow, for example, or maybe today, we have the regional insights and the peer-to-peer exchanges. Then tomorrow, we are going to have our clinics, our roundtables, and our virtual booth talks. So you can choose from a huge range of different opportunities offered to you at different time zones. On the 7th of October, we have a number of side events you can join. And last but not least, on October 8th, we're going to finish with 2 excellent expert panels, including sharing lessons learned, sharing insights, and talk about the way forward. So this is all ahead of us. So if you have not customized your program, you should visit socialprotection.org again. You saw it in the video. And maybe you should make sure that you click actually on the option receive emails and announcements and updates so that you are always in the know. So last but not least, I would like to mention that we also have a graphic recorder for this conference. Sonja Niederhumer is actually joining us from South Africa right now, and she will help us to capture key insights, interesting quotes, and so on for the upcoming session, as well as for the sessions in the other time zones. And we also see her again on the last day. So I will make use of preliminary results later today. So the very last information before we start our regional session is please make heavy use of our chat box. So in the chat box, as you know, you can actually chat privately with people in the conference. You can see their names, but you can also write qualitative comments or when you hear something and you want to share. But of course, you can also ask questions. And if time permits, we might be able to even address some of them.